Hello chums and welcome. I am One Wild Sheep and today we're going to be taking a sheepish look at Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Sony PlayStation 4. And this game, ladies and gentlemen, is quite possibly one of the most detailed and immersive games I think I have ever played. The sheer amount of volume of detail that's in every single part of this game is absolutely immense. And basically Rockstar just flat out knocked this game completely out of the park with what they've done with the characters. I love all the characters, which is like pretty much a first for a Rockstar game, because most of the Rockstar games I've played in the past, I've always considered the characters, except for maybe one or two, like Nico in GTA 4 for instance, I don't know, they've never clicked or melded with me. But in this one, like, I love every single character that's in this game. And the story this time around actually follows the Dutch Vandeling gang as they try to escape the slowly diminishing rules of the Wild West as everything starts to become more civilized. And, you know, as civilization starts taking in and the West becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. And the whole game's plot centers around this gang just sort of trying to cope with the changes and trying to survive against basically the flow of the world, I suppose. And they do an absolutely stellar job doing everything here. And the thing that's interesting about this game is, if you played Red Dead Redemption 1, this is a prequel to it. And it does seem to basically perfectly flow into Red Dead 1. I'm not exactly sure how the game ends though, because my capture card and the way I actually hear the game died as I was recording and playing through the game, so I'm on the epilogue and I just haven't been able to fully finish it, but I played enough of the game now to be able to do the video, I think, so there's that. But yeah, basically, the world is phenomenal. I love the story. The soundtrack is honestly surprisingly good. I wasn't expecting to really love the soundtrack and the sound design quite as much as I actually ended up loving it. Because when I think Rockstar games, I think, oh, okay, it might have some good songs here and there, but like in GTA or something, where you have the radio. But in this, obviously, it's Wild West, so you don't have a radio. So instead you do have like this dynamic soundtrack that sort of kicks in occasionally, so sometimes you're riding and you hear like some very light instrumentation, not much, and sometimes you don't even hear any music at all. And every now and then during the course of the story, like a vocal song will come on and it fits the mood of what just happened in the story perfectly. They just a fantastic job is done there. And the world itself just feels alive, honestly. Like, dynamic events can happen as you're traveling throughout. Like, you can go into the town, for instance, and you'll see a bar fight where someone gets flung out the window, and you can choose to intervene, or, you know, you can just walk into the bar and have a drink, I suppose. So there's loads of, like, dynamic events that happen during the course of the game that I really, really do love. Like, there's this one guy who, you can come across who's searching for his friend Gavin, and I don't think you can actually find his friend Gavin. I'm not sure. I haven't found him myself, but you see him, and every time you go to a new town after you first meet him, you can sometimes see him running around going, Gavin! Gavin! Has everyone seen Gavin? And he slowly gets more and more crazy as time goes on. There's tons of lovely touches like that, and that really just flesh the game out. The problem with the game, though, is while it does a fantastic job of the world, the story, the dialogue, the script is amazing, and the acting and everything, all that stuff, all the presentation sort of things are top-notch. The game does have a couple of gameplay caveats. Is that the word? Well, it's some issues I have with the gameplay. They're only minor ones, but they are issues nonetheless. For instance, I do find the controls to be occasionally pretty damn clunky, and like I think it's something to do with how much weight that Arthur Morgan, the main character, has, where you can let go of the analog stick and you'll still move like an extra foot or so because the animation has to play. And there's loads of little interesting things like that. Kind of make things rather annoying, especially if you're going into like people's houses and you want to like say there's a can of tuna on the table and you want to pick it up. You kind of have to fight the controls to get the exact right spot in order to pick this thing up. And it's manageable. You can get used to it, but the first like hour, 2 hours of the game was basically me trying to get used to the controls and fiddling with them and trying to get everything managed. And inventory management is also pretty annoying as well. Like, it has a weapon wheel that you bring up by pressing L1, and you know, it works like any other weapon wheel, but you can switch between different items in your inventory by pressing L2 and R2 while holding L1, and it can just be a little bit clunky to get used to at the beginning of the game. I'm not gonna say it's horrible because you can adjust to it, but you know, it's something that's kind of bugs me, and honestly it's one of the more annoying aspects about the game. Although controls have never been exactly what I would consider Rockstar's strong suit anyway. I don't think there's a single game they've probably made that I've been fully happy with the controls. So, you know, I kind of expected a little bit of traction there, honestly. And there is a slight annoyance as well with your horse, where for some reason your loadout, like the weapons you have on you, Arthur Morgan will put them on the horse and then forget about them. So every now and then I have to keep going back to the horse to re-equip the weapons that I had on me, and it's, you know, it's really annoying. There's like loads of annoying little touches like that, and there are instances in the game where I would say that the game is so detailed to a fault. Like there's a lot of not quality of life issues present, which you can get around, and it's great for immersion. But like say fast travel is a little bit. Actually, I say it's a little tricky. I haven't been able to work out how fast travel works. You don't even have it at the beginning of the game, so I just play through the whole game without fast travel. And getting from location to location can take a bit of time, so get used to seeing your character just sort of riding along a lot. In fact, a lot of this footage, depending on how I edit it, I haven't edited it. I do the voice before I do the editing. Might just be me wandering through the wilds. Honestly, I might lob in some action scenes here and there to get fancy. But yeah, basically, that's it's just sort of gameplay issues like that that kind of annoy me. But the general rule of thumb is if I'm able to immerse myself into the game, these gameplay issues stop becoming issues and more as a boon to the game in a way as well. It's kind of weird how if you take things at a slower pace, the issues become less of an issue, if you get me, because your brain just basically isn't trying to rush through things. I'm still going to say it's really annoying, like trying to get to your loadout bag all the time, and like the control issues when you're in houses do my bloody head in. But I don't know. Although I do find that whenever you are inside the house, you can actually go into first-person mode in this game. And one thing I will say is first-person mode is that makes it a little bit easier to like pick up objects and whatnot that are littered throughout everything. So that's a little bit of advice for anyone playing this game for the first time. But I haven't even actually really scratched the surface of what you can actually do in this game though either through this video so far. Like you can play poker, you can do the five finger fillet thing where you basically, it's that game where you put your hand on the table and you do the knife and you slam down. I'm doing the motions with my hand in real life. You can't see me. I don't know why I'm doing this. But basically, you know the mini game. You put your hand on the table and you jab down to the knife as quick as you can. That's in there, which I didn't really like so much because it was kind of fiddly for me. But, you know, your mileage may vary there. You can customize your characters, you can customize your guns, you can customize your horse, you can get different horses, you can grow attached to your horse. Like I grew attached to my horse, Epona, which was the cheapest horse you could get at the beginning of the game, so I had like no money. But I don't care, I loved that horse and had it throughout the entirety of the game, and I refused to get another one. So, you know, there's a lot to this game, and this video isn't even scratching the surface. And honestly, it's possibly contender for my favorite Rockstar game, flat out. Like, this is above GTA 5 for me. Uh, I don't know if it's above Red Dead Redemption 1, however, because I actually haven't played that in years and I can't really remember it properly. But out of the Rockstar games I remember off the top of my head, this one is probably my favorite, honestly. So there you go. So do I recommend it? Well, I just said it's my favorite, didn't I? Of course I recommend it. The game's really, really damn good. But you do have to sort of take into consideration that, especially at the beginning of the game, because the first hour or so of the game I do not like. It is a slower paced game from what you would expect from, like, say, a GTA or something. So you do need to get that in your head first before you delve in, because if you think it's going to be a high octane action fueled ride, you're going to be gravely mistaken and you will not be impressed. But if you can get into your head, it's a slower paced game. I really do think this is a damn good one. And if anyone's wondering what my thoughts are on Red Dead Online, because that's also a separate thing that's now out for this game, at least it's in beta. I don't know if it's out fully. I will not be giving my opinions on that. I won't be making a video about Red Dead Online because of two reasons. One, my capture card is dead, so I cannot literally record any more footage if I wanted to. And two, it just doesn't appeal to me, honestly. Like, I do not see any appeal in Red Dead Online. Especially from what I've heard about the microtransactions. Oh, Jesus Christ, let's not go there. But there we go. Thanks for watching, chums, and I shall see you after. Bye-bye.